try your best not to get sucked into the void. This is not me trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just sharing from my own personal experience, my advice to you, like a brother, like a sister, because I care about you and I want us to thrive and I want us to succeed and I want nothing to obstruct our path to success. Please don't take offense to anything I say in this video if you really, really are pro Instagram or anything like that. Here's my experience. A couple of months ago, I decided to go full rogue of social media, where prior to that, I would post almost every day on my stories and I would post a picture here and there. The number one thing I've noticed from being on social media and then entering back into the world with other people using social media is that we've become so socially dependent on these platforms. Like, it's actually crazy. So recently, my partner hosted an event for Amazon sellers in Miami. My mom was there and she is big on Snapchat. She loves Snapchat. She's always snapping. My mom sends her snaps and every time we would take a picture together, like there would be a filter on it. And it's fine, you know, I get it, that's the culture. However, when I was like, oh mom, like, can we just take a regular picture? Like, these filters kind of like don't make me look like myself. Like, I kind of feel weird because I'm not used to the Snapchat filters. You know, I was used to the Insta filters. We took a couple of pictures on her phone, my phone, regular camera roll. And she, you know what she said, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart. She's like, I don't like myself without the filter. When you're off social media for months, right? When you stop consuming other people's content, when you stop looking at other people's stories, when you genuinely stop using the app, you will notice a huge improvement in your appreciation for yourself and your life. And this is because you're not comparing yourself to a reality that doesn't exist. You're not comparing your reality to somebody else's reality that is portrayed in the best light possible. And we all know this, right? We all know this. That everything we see on Instagram points to some sort of reality, but we know that it is made to look even better. So when you stop using Instagram, specifically Instagram, you will see a greater shift in your mental health. You will also see a greater sense of focus for your goals and dreams and skills. When you're not on social media, there's nothing else to distract you unless you're like watching Netflix or like browsing on TikTok or using other social media platforms to fill the voids, which I don't recommend, obviously. Yeah, you're gonna find yourself with so much more free time and focus. Like, when people are actually wanting to have conversations with you, or you have lectures that you need to watch, or something that requires a lot of attention to detail, you will be so much more focused. And that is awesome because we are struggling with an attention deficit in the world, practically in humanity. We're all so glued to our screens. And I think that if we're doing constructive work in the world, if we're actually putting in the work that we want to see in the world, then it's worth it. Another thing that happened during the event was that I noticed, after the event was over anyway, Taylor and I went to dinner with two other friends. And one of them was a woman, and she had pictures of other women's bodies as her home screen, like, and they would alternate, you know, and it was just pictures of women's bodies. Like, it wasn't of an actual girl, like the faces were cut off. It was literally just pictures of like the Instagram type body, you know what I mean? You probably have an idea of what I mean. Like, no judgment or hate towards her at all, but I just felt like so much compassion for her. I wanted to be able to just like sit with her and talk about, you know, like just her relationship with her body and herself. Here's the point that I'm coming to, is that as women, we are affected negatively, very, very negatively. I believe more than men, because of how we see other women and also how we perceive ourselves through the filtered apps. Like, I am so blessed. I really know I did the best decision to be off the gram for a little bit, honestly, because it has being away from the app has made me really fall in love with myself again, because I've noticed such a huge shift in my mental health towards the positive direction. Like, I am not looking at anybody else. You will find a new sense of liberation. And also, it takes discipline. It takes discipline not to use the apps. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, oh, I communicate to my family and friends like this, and this is how I network and all that stuff. My tip to you and my suggestion to you is, like, ask yourself, you know, do the pros outweigh the cons? And if so, go ahead, keep using the apps, you know, maybe just reduce the watch time on other people's content, maybe just create content, post it, respond to messages, and then try your best not to get sucked into the void. I think that we can take back our power if we start to communicate with our friends and families outside of social media platforms. It's also way more personal when we do that, and we're also incentivizing them to get off the app as well. No hate to the original creators at all. I'm not even sending hate to Facebook. I am just well aware of my mental health, and I want to also share that with you guys. I want you guys to also be mentally healthy and strong and not have this dependence and addiction to always look at your feed, because what you're going to end up with most of the time is feeling really bad about yourself, even though you're doing an amazing job at living your life, your unique life, with your unique body and mind and face. So yeah, let's take back control of our life and realize that there's so many more sinister things going on beneath the surface. And look, I am a web developer in training, so I can tell you right now that I am definitely pro technology. I'm not a Luddite. However, some technologies are not for our greatest advantage, for our greatest, highest potential, if we overuse them and if we don't really measure the consequences of our use. Also, I understand that a lot of people use Instagram for their businesses and for networking and all that stuff. All I want to say is, yeah, don't stop putting out your content. Don't stop doing great things in the world. Just measure your use. Like, if you can delegate the posting and the time on the app, I recommend it 100%. Like, get one of your VAs to post your content for you, to respond to comments, to even respond to messages if you have to. If you want to treat it as a business, I feel like that is the way to go for Instagram. But for personal use, I think there's better platforms on the way, coming soon. And I'll give you one last piece of wisdom. This one doesn't come from me. This one comes from Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of The Four Agreements, and most recently, the book that I'm reading, The Mastery of Love. He says, in order to heal your emotional wounds, you need to aid them with truth. And in order to figure out what's true, don't believe me, don't believe yourself, and don't believe anything you hear. And I'll leave you to ponder that.